Today I'm platinuming the Ratchet Clank PS4 game, based on the movie, based on the PS2 game. With 47 trophies and at least 2 playthroughs required, this might take a while. PSNProfiles says 25 hours in fact, so that's the time to beat. Stage 1 is to simply beat the game and to enjoy it, ignoring any retcons along the way, because otherwise this video will go off on wild tangents. Our new and improved Ratchet dreams of being a galactic ranger and crushes the tryouts through the power of platforming and destroying everything that comes before him and wins a trophy. Sadly, he gets rejected by Captain Quark for, well, reasons. Clank, meanwhile, who very much remains the same, takes part in this epic chase sequence that definitely isn't based on a Naughty Dog game featuring a certain marsupial indigenous to Australia. There's some super simple puzzles to solve, but nothing that I can't handle, and Clank escapes. Robot crash lands, Lombax rescues him, the evil Blarg led by Chairman Drek and Dr. Nefarious have come to retrieve Robot, so Lombax blows Blarg up. Ratchet offers to take Clank to the Rangers, but took a forced detour to Novalis. I then started upgrading my weapons with the Raritanium I've been picking up along the way, a Ratchet & Clank staple at this point, for a trophy. Then it was time to wade through the waterworks, just like the original. New to Ratchet & Clank though are these trading cards, and yes, I have to collect them all. The cards you get in each pack are RNG, but the good news is that I can trade in 5 duplicates for a new card that I haven't acquired yet. Oh look, the plumber's back, and this time he's fixing the ship. After that, I saved the mayor of this place from certain death by the hands of the Blarg and a bunch of robots, and get pointed towards Iridia to save the mayor's nephew, Star Hoverboarder Skid McMarks, aka Space Tony Hawk. Oh, and I earn another trophy. Before going to Iridia though, it's time to take Clank to the Galactic Rangers on Kerwan, and they desperately need my help. I shoot down a bunch of ships before taking down the Big Daddy ship by throwing a bunch of its own warbots at it. The Galactic Rangers are so impressed they let Ratchet join. Big Al is back and he upgrades Clank before Ratchet & Clank foil a plot to bomb the Hall of Heroes and tackle the fitness course, but fail to do it in time somehow. I'll come back to this later. After eradicating Iridia's sand shark problem, Skid McMarks hands over this awesome and totally radical hoverboard. I then headed over to the new McMarks shopping centre and pick up the Hydro Displacer and started eliminating all the construction workers in the area, including knocking this poor bot into the quicksand. I proceeded to find Skid's agent, Space Jerry Maguire, getting pinned down by the ugly Blarg, so I just had to deal with a few waves of those to rescue him and get another trophy. Next up, Rilgar, home of the hoverboard races where I can get my Tony Hawk on. Other skateboarders are available, I'm sure. Before that though, I need to eliminate all the amoeboids on the planet so that the race can go ahead safely. I also acquired the Trespasser, which I'll need to solve all 18 puzzles without using an auto hack for a trophy, as well as the first of 9 RYNO holocards for, well, the RYNO. On top of that, available to purchase for the first time is the Groovatron, and the subject of the most irritating trophy in the entire series. Why? Because I have to make every single enemy, including bosses, dance with this thing. There's a few missable enemies as well, some I've already missed, but that's okay because I can go through the game again in challenge mode since progress on this trophy carries over. But only once. If I do a second challenge playthrough, all progress on this is erased and I have to start again. So this is a miserable, missable trophy. So my strategy was simple. Whenever I saw an enemy that I even suspected was new, I simply threw out the Tron and let my enemies dance their little butts off. And then destroyed them, obviously. There's another missable trophy that isn't so miserable. Whenever amoeboids and robots are on the same screen fighting each other, I just have to let them. When the bots kill their 35th amoeboid without my assistance, I get a trophy. They do all the hard work, I get all the credit. Don't worry about why I'm in the ocean, it's not important. I annihilated the remaining amoeboids and finally got to do some hoverboard racing. And honestly, this was super easy. Kinda disappointingly so, to be quite honest with you. Here's me coasting across the finish line for my first hoverboard race win. I also won these silver and gold cups here for bolts and another trophy later on. Captain Quark informs Ratchet & Clank of a bioweapon threat on Nebula G34, and it's time to take out the alien threats once and for all. Maybe. I eventually bumped headfirst into the Snagglebeast, and my way of dealing with it was to let it dance itself to death, and occasionally spray it with bullets. Big, massive, extraterrestrial thing down. After learning about the existence of the jetpack on Gaspar, there's another Clank section where I grab the iconic Magna Boots, and I blow up a warship. Because I can. On Gaspar, I took on what felt like at least 2/3 of the entire blog population, and all I got for my efforts were another iconic pair of Ratchet & Clank footwear, the Grind Boots. Oh yes. I'm not done here though, as I also met this blog scientist who was far less interested in world domination and incredibly interested in the brains of telepathic flying squid. There were 2 ways I could do this. The first is to collect them in pods for 1 brain, or take down a massive telepathopus myself for 3. Trading in the first 10 unlocked the jetpack, trading in 20 more earned me information about my next destination and a trophy. But finding the remaining 60 was an absolute mission. Jetpack fuel seemed to last nowhere near as long as I needed it to. Ammo was consistently in short supply since telepathopuses were just massive flying damage sponges with painfully slow attacks that were easy to avoid, and the last few were in a completely different part of the map to the rest of them. Why? I don't know. Yes, I could have waited until I grabbed the Map-O-Matic to find these, but I just wanted to get it done now and not waste time, god damn it. Spoiler alert, I'm gonna have to come back here anyway. That's a problem for future Ben though. Look at this shiny trophy that I just earned. Minutes later, I collected some more holocards and finally finished my first set of 3 and made my way over to Battalia, where after blowing up everything in sight with extreme prejudice, I somehow shot down an entire fleet all by myself. Well, myself and this massive ion cannon, obviously. There was some more grinding to do, and Ratchet & Clank got an update from Ratchet's old boss Grim about Grim's twin brother Felton having a spot of bother in Pokataru. Screw that though, there's a factory to infiltrate on Quatu. I engaged my brain and did the usual Clank puzzle stuff, but as I got further into the factory, my favourite weapon in the entire franchise, the Mr. Zircons, turn on me. And this culminates in a showdown against a massive Mrs. Zircon, which is made laughably easy once again thanks to the Groovatron. Man, I hope this weapon is never used against me, because this is a ridiculously powerful effect in this game. Turns out Drek and Nefarious want to blow up Novalis, the second planet I visited in the game, with the Deplanetizer, so that they can create the greatest planet in the galaxy ever, basically. Also, let's be real with ourselves here, the Deplanetizer is just the Death Star from Star Wars. I could save Novalis from utter destruction, or I could get some R&R and head to the resort planet of Pokataru. I escort Felton, Grim's brother, remember? No? Past some orange blowfishes, more telepathopuses, and now even more Blargian invaders. Man, do these red guys ever give up? No, the answer is no. Big Al is here as well because there's a convention and he's a massive nerd, and he upgrades the ship so that we can blast the enemy aerial presence out of the sky. I also got this sick jetpack upgrade. There's another amoeboid infestation to deal with in the sewers below, but I got an O2 mask out of it, so that's cool, I guess. Alright, time to infiltrate the Deplanetizer. Or it would be if that robot Clank ran away from at the very beginning of the game didn't infiltrate my ship first. There's some more chase sequences and puzzles that took a bit longer for me to solve than I care to admit, including this final one where it took me about 5 minutes to figure out that I could rotate the floating platform despite the game clearly stating it twice. But eventually Clank finally lured Victor Von Ion into the sprinkler system, dealing with him once and for all. Hopefully. As Ratchet, I went into the Deplanetizer and caused absolute chaos, obliterating everything in my path in an attempt to save Novalis. Long story short, lots of Blargians were put down, robots were decommissioned, Ratchet got caught, and Novalis went boom. Again, clearly stolen from Star Wars, get your own plot, goddammit. Turns out Quark betrayed everyone because Ratchet & Clank was stealing his heroic thunder, because of course he did, he's Quark. The Galactic Rangers feel sorry for themselves, but Clank urges Ratchet to retake the mantle of hero because the next planet up for unplaneting, Umbris, will cause a devastating chain reaction if blown up. So Ratchet and Clank head to Klebo 3, home of Gadgetron, who have been supplying our weapons this entire time, to stop yet another Blargian invasion. I make sure to ride every catwalk without moving, well, once I've cleared the nearby area of enemies anyway, and pick up the sheepinator. The first thing I do with it is turn this fine blarg helicopter commander into a sheep, and then I turned around and rode the fourth and final catwalk. With Kalibo 3 saved and the hoverboard racetrack unflooded, it's time for some more racing, which is just as easy as the previous track. Hooray, here's a trophy. Winning the race also won me the holocards, which will help me infiltrate the deplanetizer once more. I then went on to beat the rest of the hoverboard races for another trophy for winning the Gold Cup on both Rilgar and Kalibo, and then it was time to move on. Holocards in hand, Quark impression nailed to a T, it was time for the final level of the game. Not before Nefarious stabs Drek in the back though, figuratively speaking, and launching him into the sun. Oh wow, who could have possibly seen that one coming? The final level is a mix of stealth to not get caught and as a result get sanitized to death, and a lot of action to kill things before they can push a big shiny button to, you know, sanitize me to death. Did I mention that the Groovatron is unbelievably omega stupid busted? No, because it is. After fighting through one more corridor of everything the Blargian Empire can throw at me, Ratchet takes on Quark and it's time for a showdown. Hero on the rise versus hero falling from grace. The fight starts off super easy, but then Quark uses the dirtiest trick I have ever seen. He has his own Groovatron. What the hell? That's my tactic! Unlike my version, however, his is super easy to destroy, as I just have to navigate back to the center of the room so that I can bump into it and shut it down. Call me Ben Jovi, baby, because we're halfway there. On the trophy count anyway. Nefarious finally shows his ugly face, and then it's time to take him on in the final showdown. I just want to say that yes, this game is stupid and probably shouldn't exist. Trying to reboot the series and not giving full context of the plot in the game is kinda super mega dumb. Ratchet's personality transplant and Drek's straight up lobotomy don't help things. But as with all games, I just have to ask myself one question. Is the game fun? Hell yeah, this is fun. In terms of controls and weapon variety, this is the best in the series so far, and I don't think it's particularly close either. The music's good, the bosses actually have variety, and are more than just damage sponges for once. After all that, Nefarious goes down, and the day is saved, thanks to this conveniently placed dwarf star. And roll credits. Stage 2 is to go back and acquire all the gold bolts and RYNO cards I haven't found yet. Did I mention there were gold bolts in this game? No? Well, there are. 28 of them in fact. Nice round number. As I was revisiting the previous levels, I hacked my 18th and final trespasser puzzle without using the auto hack, and eventually finished my gold bolt hunting in Pokitaru, swimming the pristine waters and jumping around everywhere on this rock. Then it was a simple case of handing in all 9 RYNO cards to definitely not Slim Cognito, and the RYNO, aka the greatest weapon in video game history, was mine. Definitely not biased. Stage 3 time, and I needed to earn the rest of the miscellaneous trophies that were available on a few of the other planets. Could I have merged stage 2 and stage 3? Absolutely. In fact, I feel kind of stupid that I didn't do that, but it is what it is. I chose to do the hoverboard races first to get them out the way. I completed the hoverboard Gold Cup on Rilgar in under 135, and the hoverboard Gold Cup on Kalibo in under 205. Then on Kerwan, I finally activated my platforming skills 12 or so hours into the trophy run, and finished the fitness course well under the 70-second time limit. I wasn't done yet though, as I then went round and broke every lamp on the path up to the train station for another trophy. On Gaspar, I somehow didn't get this next trophy on my initial run through. I just had to kill 40 enemies whilst airborne with a jetpack. Seriously, how? Quatu also has a couple of miscellaneous trophies to grab. In the Clank section, I just had to throw 5 gadget bots into the Crusher. And then in the Mrs. Zircon boss room, I destroyed 10 inactive warbots that were just minding their own business. On Pokitaru, I found a hungry pool shark and allowed myself to get eaten. And then finally on the Death Star, there were 2 more miscellaneous trophies to grab. I found Quark's Lounge for 1, and destroyed all the planet models in Drek's office for the other. That's my whirlwind tour for the miscellaneous trophies done. Time for stage 4, challenge mode. I made it a point to continue tossing the Groovatron during every single enemy encounter. I wasn't expecting this trophy to pop up until Rilgar, but on Iridia, Staying on Iridia, this is the best place to grind for the bulk multiplier. The trick is to find a safe spot next to a sand shark spawner, such as this crane, and then use the sheepinator to morph the sharks, wait for more to appear, and then do it again. I accidentally moved the spawner, but there's plenty of places to do this grind, and after 15 high octane minutes of non-stop action, I hit the 20 times multiplier. Whenever you complete a weapons holocard set, you can purchase the Omega version of that weapon in challenge mode. During my rematch with the Snaggle Beast, I upgraded one of my Omega weapons to max level for the first time. Shortly after that, I also finally had enough duplicate cards to complete all my other holocard sets. Really fun feature, honestly, and I'm sad this wasn't in Rift Apart. After running through the game, it was time to defeat Dr. Nefarious again. Because this is challenge mode though, the poor guy didn't stand a chance. Then it was time for the 5th and final stage. Yet another playthrough to upgrade literally everything. Was this part super boring? Absolutely. Does it make for great content? Obviously not. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Ratchet & Clank, but come on. But this is a trophy hunting channel, so here goes. I eventually earned enough Raritanium to get every single weapon upgrade, eliminated so many blag that I think it might be classed as genocide, but I earned enough nanotech experience to max out Ratchet's health, and finally, 17 gameplay hours later, I got my gazillionth weapon to max level for Master of War and the Hero of Heroes Platinum Trophy. Thanks for watching. Go left to check out every Ratchet & Clank Platinum Trophy I've done so far, or go right and see what the YouTube gods are offering you. See you next week for Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart.